Good afternoon and welcome to Joy News today. Coming up this hour, Ghana Education Service assures 38 final year students of Agri Memorial Senior High School will write this year's WASI, which starts Monday. Also to come, New Patriotic Party embarks on demonstration in the Upper East region to protest what they say are government's failed promises. And the multimedia group holds debates to discuss relevance of Ghana's independence from the British colonial rule. My name is Kamini Nyamani Amana. Thank you very much for your company here. I'll be right back with details of those stories and plenty others. Don't go away. Thanks for staying here. Now, the opposition New Patriotic Party is currently embarking on a massive demonstration in Bolgatanga in the Upper East region. The party is protesting failed government promises to the people of the region and the hardships in the country. About 1,000 demonstrators from all over the region have turned up for the demonstration, including NPP running mate Dr Bonilla. Albert Sorry is our Upper East correspondent. Has joined me over the telephone with some more detail from this demonstration. Good afternoon, Albert.
Good afternoon, Kamini.
What more can you tell us from this demonstration?
Hello.
Hello, Albert.
Yeah, Kamini.
Tell us more about the demonstration.
Well, the demonstration should end at the moment. Is current MPP running mate Mahmoud Bawumia is leading, and any moment from now they should be coming to the Bolgatanga Jubilee Park, where there will be an address before the close of the demonstration.
I see. So far, how would you describe this demonstration?
I would say the demonstration has been very successful. If you look at the numbers that have turned up, we are talking about over 1,000 people from different parts of the joining this demonstration, a lot of them in red and black attire. And so I would say that they has been successful considering how high the number is.
I see. Now, besides Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, which other executives have joined the demonstration from other places in the country?
Well, I've seen John Boedu, I've seen Samir Ewuko, also Deputy Minority Leader Dominic Nitowo is with them, and the Ashanti Regional Chairman is also, and then we have the Nasara Coordinator, Kamal Abdullahi, also joining this demonstration. So far, these are the people I can say confidently have joined this demonstration.
What are those failed government promises the demonstrators are protesting?
Well, they are protesting the fact that some factories, which especially the tomato factory, which they when they were in power, tried to revamp but could not finish. And so they were expecting that the NDC government would have continued so that a lot of the tomato farmers in the region would have a place where they can sell their produce. That has not been done. They also talk about the fact that there was supposed to be the construction of a multi-purpose dam at Kwalugo, where they say water can be harvested every rainy season for dry season farming and also for hydroelectric purposes. These and also the hardships in the economy, some of the things that again.
I see. Albert, we'll leave it here for now. We'll continue this conversation in this broadcast in a bit. Away from the Upper East region, the Ghana Water Company is appealing to residents of Adenta to pay their current bills as it launches investigations into claims of overbilling. The residents say they have been handed bills far in excess of water supplied to their homes. Joy News is in possession of some of the bills, some as high as 500 cedis issued after just 1 month of water supply. Communications manager of the GWCL, Stanley Mate, tells Joy News results of the investigations will explain the high bills.
Proud to the regular flow of water, we all know the Adenta situation. And those times you're receiving water once in a week, twice in a week, sometimes twice in a month and all that. And so we bill them for that. But because most of them were not actually getting regular flow, they had refused to pay the little bills that we were sending to them. So they have accumulated their bills over the period, some over 5 years. Okay, and that is why and now that the flow is regular and we are able to go to the communities to deliver the bills, that is why they are seeing it now. What we faced in times past was that because most of the residents were angry with the Ghana Water Company Limited for the irregular flow, when our meter readers go there, they are harassed. Some of them just leash out insults and stuff on them. Others release their dogs on them and all that. So most of the time, when the flow is irregular, we do not go there at all to deliver the bills. When the flow is good, then we go to deliver the bills, which most of them just dump somewhere. So now that the flow is regular, everybody within the Adenta community is happy about the flow and all that. We are also bold and confident enough to deliver the bills, and that is why we are seeing some of these accumulated bills. You also will see on our bills that we have some percentage cost for fire.
But those are very minute. Those are very minute component of the total
but they are
bill.
Calculated on your consumption. Okay, and these are bills that they have left unpaid for a very long time.
How do you urge the consumer to pay a bill that he or she is not sure she consumed? In any case, she's got 30 days to do that.
Kemi, we have your current bill, and then you have your arrears on all the bill, your current consumption and your arrears on the bill. So you can start paying with your current bills while we try to sort out the arrears.
The West African Examination Council has been instructed to register 38 final year students of the Agri Memorial Senior High School who are not registered for non-payment of fees. In an interview on News Desk earlier, Public Relations Officer of the Ghana Education Service, Charles Parker Aloti, said measures are also being put in place so students can have their practicals. He spoke to me earlier on Joy News Desk.
West African Exams Council have been asked to immediately put in arrangements for a late registration for these candidates. We are doing so because we want to be proactive in curing the mischief that may attend the future career progression or career path of these students. It is unfortunate that this has happened.
When will this registration, this last-minute registration, take place?
As I speak to you now, the headmaster is at the West African Exams Council with a list of the students. So this is how this is going to be done as soon as possible. I cannot tell you whether it's today, tomorrow, but as soon as possible.
I was asking for specifics in terms of time because the exams starts Monday.
It starts on Monday. Then that's why I'm telling you that by close of this week, which means we have only tomorrow, they will be registered before they start. And I think for those who are doing these practicals, which they have already done, you know, some practicals have been done already.
Indeed.
Yeah. Some arrangements, I'm sure, will be done for them to write those ones.
Get a gun. I can tell you that. That's the advice from the Ghana Police Service to Ghanaians in the midst of rampant robbery attacks under the cover of doomsday. The advice follows a series of attacks in some parts of the country. Speaking on the AM show Thursday morning, DSP Freeman Tete of the Public Affairs Department at the police headquarters said it has become necessary for Ghanaians who can afford to get guns to protect themselves and their families. He however cautions that the weapons should be registered and used responsibly.
But at the end of the day,
what's the procedure if I want to own a gun?
Just talk to the various arms and ammunition units of the police service. We have them in every police division across the country. Just get closer to them, talk to them. They will link you up. We don't sell guns anyway, but at the end of the day, they will link you up to people who deal in arms, and they will assist you to register the weapon. And when it's time for renewal, make sure you renew it, because if you don't renew your license and you possess it, you'll be committing an offense. And if you use it too, you'll be committing an offense. The first law of nature is self-preservation or self-protection. At the end of the day, you have a gun. When it's safe for you to fire, because you don't exchange your life. You don't, because you have a gun, so the feeling is that you are superior. No. If a general in the military or a commissioner or somebody who is the best marksman can be shot by a criminal.
An operation by a combined team from the Police Fire Service and the Road Safety Commission is to ensure accident-free Easter has led to the arrest of 20 drivers. But for the rains which brought the exercise to an abrupt end, many more drivers would have been arrested for various offences.
The exercise was carried out at Eisam in the Infantiman municipality, one of the hottest accident spots. Of the 30 accident-related deaths recorded in the region in the first quarter of 2015, 12 were from the Infantiman municipality. Drivers who were arrested were charged with various offences, including possession of fake driver's license and certificates, worn-out tires, overspeeding and loading at wrong spots, among other offences. According to the Central Regional Commander of the Motor Traffic and Transport Department, Superintendent Felix Cosmos, major breaches are going to be prosecuted.
Road safety is a collective effort or responsibility. It lies on passengers, drivers, and then the general public. So the advice that we are given is, if you are a passenger in a car, you ensure that, you have to, and the driver is maybe misconducting himself on the road, you have a stake. You must be bold to tell that driver that he should exercise patience, because after all, when he speeds, he's going to reach. When he goes slowly, he's going to reach. And it's better to be patient on the road than to be a patient or a casualty in the hospital.
The Regional Director of the Road Safety Commission, Stephen Anochi, hoped to continue the exercise to ensure that roads are safe for every road user.
By the grace of God, we have been able to reduce the rate of accident in this quarter. Normally, in the central region, it is in the first quarter that we record a lot of accidents. For instance, by this same period last year, we have recorded about 80 deaths. But this year, we are talking about some 30 around the same period, which is a significant reduction in the road traffic fatalities. And therefore, we want to continue this program and ensure that the roads are safe for every road user. Our advice to motorists and the general traveling public is that passengers have a stake in their own safety when it comes to traveling. So they shouldn't sit down in the vehicle quiet when the drivers are conducting themselves on the road.
Georgina Pierce reports from the Central Region.
People are jailed or imprisoned for a number of reasons. At times to punish them and get them reformed by the time they finish serving their jail terms. This, however, appears not to be the case for inmates at the Koforidua prisons. According to them, outrageous sentences handed to them rather makes them hardened criminals. Leader and spokesperson of the inmates at the Koforidua prisons, Paul Isifo Latif, jailed for 18 years for attempted robbery, has been speaking to Seth Kwame Boateng and says the president should consider convicts with high-profile cases when he is granting amnesty.
I believe that after the high sentence, though most people come here to reform, but the high sentence after being served, like in my case, if I'm not sustained by grace and I happen to serve 18 years raw, frankly speaking, I don't know how my life is going to be outside there, because I have lost so many things. I have lost time, I have wasted time, my colleagues are gone. I just want to appeal to the government that high sentence doesn't reform prisoners. Somebody is here just a week. He has reformed. He is gone. It's about mental conviction, not the issue of high sentence. I'm just pleading that the government should intervene on our behalf. At least if they could grant us even amnesty or even general remission. Certain time when amnesty is being granted, it is in categories. We with the first or the high profile cases are not always affected. So when is the issue of general remission, I believe that those who have stayed in prison for some time, their sentences can be slashed down, and the little that will be left, I believe we can battle that out.
Well, still on the prisons, judges and magistrates in the Upper West region are visiting prisons in the region to familiarize themselves with conditions there. Already, the Chief Justice, following Joy News' documentary Locked and Forgotten, has dispatched judges and magistrates in the Greater Accra and Eastern regions to prisons in their area to experience the plight of especially remand prisoners. Today, it is the turn of judges and magistrates in the Upper West region, and correspondent Rafiq Salam is with them. He's joined me over the telephone with some more. Good afternoon, Rafiq.
Good afternoon, Kamini.
Which prisons have you been to, together with the judges and magistrates?
We visited the Wa prison, which is located at the heart of the Wa municipality. It's a prison that was set up in 1920, and it's supposed to house only about 80 or 90 people. But this morning, we visited there with the High Court judge who led the delegation in the person of Justice Kosi Boache and other magistrates in the Upper West region. And so this prison that we visited, it has an inmate of about 212 inmates, and then 35 of them are on the remand prison.
I see. What are some of the stories you had from these prisoners?
The story there is not different from what we have heard from that documentary from Steph Pamubuatan. Their condition is not the best. They are living, let me say, under squalid conditions. They have only one cell for remand prisoners, and which are to the director, assistant commissioner of prisons, in the presence of Mr. Victor Dochebi. They are supposed to, that particular cell is supposed to take about 8 or 10 people, but currently it's having about 35 inmates in that particular cell, and they only have one toilet facility.
Well, I'm sure some of these remand prisoners are excited to leave, but what did they tell you about what's next for them?
They were really excited, and also some of them have also gotten that opportunity of watching that documentary at their cell, and so they were really happy about seeing the visit of these judges to them. But what the judge or what the High Court judge told us was that they are not here to release them; they are here to see their conditions and make recommendations for the Chief Justice to see what they will see. But surprisingly, we saw one thing that came up, or one thing that cropped up from this visit of the justices here, was that some people were supposed to be were released, but they were surprisingly, but they were still in custody. And so we got about 1 or 2 people which they said they would act on, but there were some of the inmates who were even there, and they were there for 4 or 5 years. They don't even know the number of years that they are in there. They are not sane. They are not insane, but they don't know the number of years that they have been there, and they have not been tried.
I see. We'll leave it here. Thank you very much, Rafiq. Rafiq Salam joined us from the Upper West regional capital, where judges and magistrates in the region are visiting the Wa prisons. Now, 2 of Ghana's most prominent academics will today come head-to-head in a debate to discuss 58 years of independence from British colonial rule. Professor Ajiman Badu Akosa and Dr. Richard Amoakoban will be participating in the second Joy FM debate in Accra. Inshira Ado is head of talk of programs at Joy News, and he shares details of this debate with us.
I'm sure you've had several arguments about whether we should reinvite the British to recolonize Ghana because things aren't going the way we expected it to go. And I think it's also a reflection of our own lack of achievement, considering what the world thinks of us. Our potential and our actual reality has a huge gap. So we thought, let's take this pub argument to a whole new level, where we have two eminent Ghanaians who are very passionate about Ghana, who have strong views about you know, our independence. And Nkrumah is in the person of Professor Ajimambedu Akosa. You also have the head of the political science department, who once said that people who believe in the Nkrumah dream and are still hung up on it are lazy people. So very, very strong views, and we thought if we brought these two together, we would get very great insights that will help people walk away with a whole new perspective on this particular subject.
Well, so what do you think? You think we're going to find an answer to the question that we've been asking ourselves at home about whether or not colonial rule should have stayed longer?
Well, whether we agree on that or not, one thing is certain, that there's no going back on our independence. But I believe after all of this, there will be a whole new way of looking at this particular conversation. We're all going to look at our call to citizenship in a whole different way.
What format are we looking at this debate taking?
It will be moderated by the former rector of the of GIMPA, Professor Ade, and it would be each person, so the person arguing for the motion and against will have their turn. They'll have 3 rounds of you know, submissions, and then the jury, which is the audience, will vote, and we'll see who won for the day.
How will the voting be done?
It will be done by show of hands.
By show of hands?
Yes.
So we get to know who won the debate?
Right there at the debate.
Right, but why did you settle on Professor Ajimambedu Akosa and Dr. Richard Amakoba?
Two very vocal people, very passionate about Ghana. They all believe we can do a lot more than we are doing, but they come from two very different political ideologies. Professor Richard Amakoba seems to think that, you know, this whole business of Nkrumah is a little overflowed. Nkrumah has done his bit, and we now should see a whole new Ghana emerge. Professor Bedu Akosa says, well, Ghana under Kwame Nkrumah was much better than it is today. And so we thought, bring these two together and let's see what comes out of it.
Whose argument will win in the second Joy debate? Thursday, March 26th, live on Joy FM at 5:30 p.m. and at 9 p.m. on Joy News on Multi TV.
You're watching Joy News today. A look again at our top stories. Ghana Education Service assures the 38th final year students of Agri Memorial Senior High School will write this year's WASI, which starts on Monday in spite of the non-payment of school fees. New Patriotic Party embarks on demonstration in the Upper East region to protest what they say are government's failed promises in the region. And the multimedia group holds debate to discuss relevance of Ghana's independence from British colonial rule. There's more to come here on the program. Don't go away. Thank you very much for staying here. Now, some Nigerians resident in Ghana are refusing to return home for Saturday's presidential election, citing security concerns ahead of the polls on Saturday. Security has been beefed up across the country, which has been grappling with the Islamist insurgency group Boko Haram. Nigeria's land and sea borders have also been closed to prevent foreigners from voting. According to authorities there, despite the increased security measures, some Nigerians in Ghana say they won't bother to go and vote.
Yeah, I intend traveling back to Nigeria this morning. But due to something, we heard in the news that the border has been shut down, so the bus from cross country cannot move us to Nigeria back, so that's why we're waiting here. I don't have anything to do than to just wait till they open the border, because if I insist on going, I will not be able to cross to my country. So I have to wait till they open the border, so I'll be able to go back to my country. I will not be able to cast my vote. I'm not worried I'm not going to be able to vote. I do business, I have my own work. I came to Ghana because of my work, so I intend going back definitely this morning, but I could not go back because of the border that was shut down. So the only painful thing is that it's going to affect my work. I'm going to lose some naira.
I heard I can vote at the Nigerian embassy here. I wouldn't travel based on security issues.
You're worried about the security in
Nigeria.
Which of the state do you come from?
I reside in Lagos when I'm in Nigeria. Although we know Lagos is not prone to any security that much like the northern states, but then there have been threats and all that, so I wouldn't really just want to be in Nigeria at this time.
We'll stay on the story. Transport operators plying the Accra-Lagos route say the closure of the borders is affecting business.
It affects us, you understand? But we got the information yesterday from the border that the border will be closed Wednesday midnight. So we stopped selling tickets. We book about, let me say, one food box, let me say about 20-something people. So I called some of them that they said the border will be closed tonight. So there will be no movement today. So I came to meet some of my passengers. Some collect their money. We talked to some of them too. Some of them said they won't collect it, they will follow us Monday. Sunday. This morning, a lot of people came here to travel, a lot. We told them the border had been closed. Some said they want to go by air, some said they want to go by bush. Today is Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So it's a lot of money because a day we can move by 2 or 3 buses. So we don't know what we are going to do, either we are going home or we don't know what we are going to do. And because the reason why they closed the border early is they said there is a lot of misunderstanding, soldiers everywhere. And they thought maybe Kutonu or some people will go and vote against them. That's why they closed the border 48 hours.
The news actually came so sudden. But we understand it's for security reasons. For us, it's normal, even though it's going to affect us, yes, rightly so, but it's just something we just have to bear with. The stability and sovereignty of the country is paramount, so if they choose to do that at a particular time, the least that we can do, even though that some of us have been disenfranchised one way or the other, that we cannot participate.
Aren't you worried about that, the fact that you can't vote?
Well, no, things being what they are, we cannot all be at this particular place at the same time. Certain things can actually happen to actually keep you away from such, But as it happened, it's just something we just have to accept and be positive about.
The Ministry of Health says it has reached an agreement with the various health providers to settle the debt owed them by the National Health Insurance Authority. Deputy Minister Dr. Victor Bampo says both parties arrived at a consensus after a meeting yesterday. He has also assured that holders of the NHIS cards will not be turned away from the health centers.
The government is working very hard to make sure that those payments are made. I think yesterday we had a meeting with the Director General of the Ghana Health Service, with the chief executives of the 4 teaching hospitals, and also the Society of Private Medical and Dental Practitioners. And we resolved to make sure that to the greatest extent possible, the health insurance scheme stays in place, the cards be accepted whilst government works to make sure that these arrears are cleared in the short. Our responsibility then is to make sure that these arrears are settled, number one. Number two, the reasons why the arrears were there in the first place be examined fully, and we are going to make sure that the challenges that the scheme has would be resolved so that they don't come, because it's become almost cyclical, and we want to make sure that this does not happen again. No, I don't think it's going to be very long. What I cannot do is to give you a definite time, because I don't, I'm not from the Ministry of Finance, so it will involve some discussions between ourselves and the Ministry of Finance. But government, as the guarantee of the scheme, has an obligation to make sure that the debt is cleared, and the government is also aware that this must be done in the shortest possible time. I will not be able to give you a definite timeline, but as and when we know when this is going to be done, we will communicate with you. But most importantly, the providers will be paid so that the scheme is maintained. We have to look at the scheme itself and to see how we make it more sustainable. What are the things that are causing this indebtedness? Because it seems like what we're collecting, there's some 3 main modes of getting funds into the scheme. Number one is the 2.5% on the VAT. Number two is the 2.5% from the SNIT contributors. And then there are the premiums that are paid. But it seems like when all those are collected, it's not enough to pay for the amounts that the scheme rakes up. So we need to find a way to make sure that income and expenditure are balancing, or at the very least income is more than expenditure. So that is something that we need to do.
Still to come here, Deputy Minister of Finance asked running mate of the NPP, Dr Bonilla, to retract his comment on the African Development Bank's supposed sanctions on Ghana. Well, that and other stories next in our business segment. Don't go away. You're watching Joy News today. Now, the Ghana Police Service has received a major boost in its police visibility agenda. Olive 360, an advertising company, has started a project that will see all police stations across the country receive signposts. In all, about 700 signposts and 45 billboards will be distributed to police stations in the country. Managing Director of the company, Elvis Nukwope, says this is the company's small way of helping the Ghana Police Service achieve its aims.
Regional capital, apart from Accra, Kumasi, Takoradi, to have at least 3 of the billboards. And the idea is that as you are entering into the region, you have the billboards to welcome you and to assure you that wherever you are, the police is on hand to ensure that you go about your duties safely. So that's the essence of the billboard. Now, the signpost, as you have seen, also has the police emergency numbers, which a lot of us don't know. So it is going to be a daily reminder to the general public of what emergency numbers there are, and that when you are in need of the police assistance, you can easily reach out to them and then they'll come to your aid. So that is the essence of the entire project. And as we
Director General of Public Relations of the Service, DCOP David Ampabeni, used the opportunity to ask Ghanaians to memorize the police emergency numbers that will be put on the signposts and billboards.
If you can recollect, last year they provided shelters for people at bus stops for the police, and they were sponsored by various companies. This year they have started another program, another project for the police. As you can see, some are sponsored by Frato and other companies. So we are appealing to all our stakeholders to come forward and assist them, because they are implementing this project throughout the country. And you can even read the messages that are on the billboards, your visible partner in crime prevention. These are very, very encouraging words. Other billboards will have different messages. So I implore you to read. Don't only look at the billboards, but read the messages on the billboards. These are some of the innovatives that the new administration want to bring to the fore, so that we bring police to the doorstep of the general public.
Do you tell lies? I know that's a bit uncomfortable to answer, but how would you feel if after one of your numerous lies you start bleating like a goat? That is the story of the smartest man alive. It is the latest play from the staples of renowned playwright Ankelibu White. The play, which explores politics and love relationships, just premiered in Accra.
This week has been a cataclysmic upheaval of galactic proportions for the People's Party. Paramount is the party chairman's scandal. Look, a female damsel has come out to claim that she has been roasting the broomstick of the chairman of the ruling party and even has a child by him. You know the expression, right? Roasting the broomstick? No, I don't. You don't know hiding the bishop, churning butter, rocking boots? Oh, okay. You learn these things when you go to Oxford University. Yeah.
Let us make our politics about morality. And I am glad for us to make this election about morality. So tell me, Kuku, what would your presidential candidate have to say about the many women who could come forward and say that he made them pregnant and got them to abort the children?
Moses, tread cautiously. Which woman? Which woman?
I'm glad you asked. I have some names here. Wait. Assembly River, Assembly River, Assembly River, oh, Onyabema. I think it's this one. Save me, river. Save me, river. Oh, yeah. Save me, river. Amina. Cynthia. Sophia. And Henry. Oh my God! So it's true, it's not only women.
Are you a truth?
No, yes.
I have decided to quit this program.
Oh, because of what happened here today?
No, of course not. I took that decision a long time ago.
So why are you giving up on the program?
You know you are a regular on this program. And it's your presence on it that makes the program come alive. And you and I are getting more and more serious with our relationship. Very soon we're going to become common knowledge. And I don't want people to say that I favor you on the program. So, I am sacrificing the program for our relationship. That is how much this relationship means to me. And I hope it means the same to you too.
Oh, of course. I mean, you mean the world to me.
The Smartest Man Alive starts showing at the National Theatre this weekend. Well, that's it for the hour. I'm grateful for your company. And look again at our top stories. Ghana Education Service assures the 38 final year students of Agri Memorial Senior High School will write this year's WASI, which starts Monday. New Patriotic Party embarks on demonstration in the Upper East region to protest what they say are failed government promises. And the multimedia group holds debate to discuss relevance of Ghana's independence from British colonial rule later today. Visit myjoyonline.com for more news. My name is Kimini Nyamani Amana. Bye-bye.